So here I am driving down Lake Cook Road. Now, this is a flashback about 15, maybe 17 or 18 years ago. Yeah, somewhere around after, so about between 19 and 17 years ago. And I'm driving down this road, and on the right-hand side is a car, and it has its flashers on, and there's several people, and I pull up behind and ask them what's going on, and they say to me that they ran out of gas. And I asked them, do you have a gas can? And they said, no, we don't have a gas can. And I said, okay, well, what I'll do is my sister's house, now it's in the opposite direction, back that way, in Deerfield. I said, I'll run to her house. It'll take me about 10 minutes round trip. I'll go and grab the gas can. I'll come back to you, and then I'll take one of you to the gas station, and we'll fill up the gas can, and I'll take you back to the car. And he said, okay. And so I left, went to the house, and when I came back, they were still there, flashers on, car still sitting here on Lake Cook Road, and I'll show you where it's about. The car was sitting, and anyways, so there were, I think, 4 black people. Now, I only remember the one male and not the other 3 black people per se, and the one male was taller, and he had, rolls. And so I took him to the gas station. We filled up the gas. He paid for the gas. I didn't pay for the gas. He paid for the gas, and then I took him back, and he filled up, the gas, and he drove to the gas station to fill up the rest. So it's right about here on Lake Cook Road. So they were about a mile away from a gas station. But I didn't know if the gas station rented gas cans. So sometimes they sell them, but I didn't know if they rented them. And so you can rent them or sell them. Most people just need it for a single use, so you just rent it, and they can return, and you charge them a rental fee, a daily rental fee for the container. So we get off in Milwaukee right here, and we went over to the Super America. There's a Shell there. It wasn't there at the time. We went to the Super America, filled it up. But gas stations can rent gas cans. Some people are taking a trip and they need a gas can. Like if you're doing, off-road stuff, you might need a gas can. So, extra fuel. It's smart to take extra fuel with you. So, again, they can do that as a rental business, and people can rent it, and if they decide to buy it, that's fine. And if they ding it up, it's usual wear and tear. I mean, they shouldn't be doing anything major damage to the container. So any normal wear and tear, and you state what's normal wear and tear for an object. Like cars, when you lease them, they say normal wear and tear. Well, you need to go over what is normal wear and tear. But they can lease the cans, and so if you scratch the paint, is that normal? If it's a can and it's painted, or if it's a plastic container, if you scratch it deeply. So, what's excessive and what's normal. But anyways, they can get into the rental business, and they'd be better with doing the rental business than they would do with selling them. Most people don't want to buy them, but they're willing to rent them. Unless they have a lawnmower, a gas lawnmower, a gas snowblower, and then people need to fill them up. And unlike, landscapers who take them on the back of a trailer to the gas station, people buy a gas can. And so if you're selling gas cans, which they don't think about this, but even motorcycles, most people keep them in their garage. But yes, it's flammable and that, and gas cans need to be redesigned with heat resistance and so on, and, be able to withstand extreme temperatures without exploding, normal fire temperatures. But the whole point is that people usually store them in their garage. And if you have a motorcycle or a go-kart or you have a ATV, all-terrain vehicle, these are people that have gas cans because you don't drive the ATV to the gas station. Some people have trailers and they'll take it and fill it up, but they're going off-roading. And even with snowmobiles, like we put the gas cans, we fill up the snowmobiles, but we take the trailer to the gas station and fill up the snowmobiles, but we also fill up the gas cans. So you have to understand who you're going to sell gas cans to. And that's your market. And so they can rent them to them charge them a daily, weekly, or monthly rental fee, or they can sell them to them. And one thing, if you buy the gas can from, say, Shell or Super America, just like they did with the cups and that, if you bring your own cup, you get a 10-cent discount. Well, if you bring the gas can back, you get a 10-cent discount per gallon. So, if it's purchased from them, incentivizing them to buy it. Over time, they'll recapture a good amount of money. So, it's just another way to make money at a gas station. And so, here's a Shell station. But anyways, I never saw those black people again or before. And I just helped them out, and he filled up, and they went on their way, and he said thanks. But how many people would do that? And now it's AAA and everything I think about when I see them. And, back then, now we're in 2025, and it's, almost 20 years later, and cellular phones have come down substantially, and the availability of them and the availability of AAA has gone up, and roadside assistance on insurance plans like Progressive and many others have roadside assistance. So, again, the necessity to do that is going away and should go away. The car breaks down, and they should take care of it. They're adults, and this day and age, they need to be more self-responsible. Truly. Even T-Mobile came out with a new cell service that switches between, and they have the commercials with Billy Bob Thornton, which is cool. And he says, text me from remote places. Because now it switches over from the towers to the satellite. And so the phones work on both networks. They work on the cell towers, and when your cell towers aren't around, the phone switches over to the satellite network. So it means you can get coverage anywhere now with T-Mobile, which is awesome. They do the conversion with the cell phone, and the cell phone can communicate with the satellite. Now, the one thing to communicate with a satellite, the phones have to be much more powerful. Satellite phones produce much more energy. you don't need as much energy to communicate with a tower, but to communicate with a satellite, you need a lot more energy. So I don't know what the lithium-ion batteries are, but I'll post the information on my Facebook, the difference in energy to communicate between a cell phone to a satellite compared to a tower. And so battery life is going to go down faster when you're dealing with satellite communication, because it drains the system. You need much more power to reach out to the satellite. So again, and it depends on the orbit of the satellite, whether it's low, mid, or high orbit. The further it's away, the more energy do you need to reach it. So a low orbit satellite system is easier to reach. Mid, harder, and high orbit satellite, harder to reach. Now, the benefit of a high orbit satellite is you don't need as many satellites. But as you move closer to the Earth, because of the curvature, to always have a satellite in range, you need more satellites. So the low Earth satellites, you need more satellites. So, yeah, like, say, 36 satellites in the low Earth, and then, say, 24 in mid and 12 in the high altitude satellites. Because the high altitude, further away, it covers a greater percentage of the Earth. But depending on what system you're using, depends on how much power the phone needs to reach the satellite system. And the amount more power it needs to reach, then the faster the phone will drain of that power communicating with a satellite. So towers are cheaper, need less energy. So when we're talking energy efficiency, it's cheaper to communicate with the towers. And what's cheaper than the towers? Landline communication is much cheaper than cell towers. And so, again, they each have their capabilities, and Comcast obviously can offer and landline phones. And all they have to do is integrate them with cell phones. Truly, where when you come home, you have a home phone that's a portable. You pull it out of its base, but it just transfers over into the home phone system, and you plug in your cell phone and into the home phone base, and it transfers over to the home phone system throughout this house, so you can pick up the phone anywhere in the house. So remember, you have a bedroom and that, you don't have to carry your phone around. And it gets your texts and emails on your home phone. Comcast can integrate that. So you just plug your phone, your portable phone, from your outside phone into the base. And once it's into the base, the USB port, it connects. And then it automatically acknowledges it's in there and transitions to the home phone. So you can have a home phone in your bathroom and, all different rooms. And you don't have to take your cell phone with you. And so it just transitions over. And so they have to figure out this integration, but that's another way, a need for cable, right? A need for line transmissions. And so it's very good that way. You can get off of this, and then you don't get the Wi-Fi coming through the house. So Comcast sends no Wi-Fi. It's all done via cable. So you get no electronic transmission going through your house. So the cell phone's off, your house is totally shielded, and you switch over to a pure landline system when you're in your house. That means you're cut off from all the energy. And you live in the house and you don't have all this, electromagnetic energy moving through the atmosphere. So Comcast can get into this type of system.